What's up, Binghamton? It's Cowboy Fan Dan Conley coming at you for week 15, and I'm in shock again because Cowboys lost to the Redskins for the second time in as many tries. I can't explain it. It's not really my job to. Well, I guess it is because that's what I do. But first, before we get into that, let me introduce my guest this week. Is Eric Raphan. Eric is an insane New York Jets fan.
And Dan, let me say I'm proud to be here today.
Why is that?
Because let me tell you something. The New York Jets have been misrepresented by the National Football League. The games are fixed so that the Jets lose, and I'm sick of it. And I'm here to defend them right here, right now. They lose games that no one should lose. I don't understand.
They should have won last week. What are you saying?
Yeah, they should have won last week. The Rams are trash. Everybody, even people in St. Louis know the Rams are trash.
All right. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit right now. As we all know, the Cowboys lost to the Redskins again this week. Why? I can't explain it other than Barry Switzer's got to be the worst coach in the NFL. You know, he came into Dallas last year, and he's like, well, they got a great system here, and I'm not going to do anything to screw it up. Well, you know what, Barry? You're not doing anything. You're not coaching the players.
Troy Aikman is coaching that team.
You think so?
Barry Switzer is there as a figurehead. Troy Aikman goes out there, he runs the offense, he even probably runs the defense.
Well, now wait a minute, slow down a second. I don't think Troy Aikman's calling defensive plays out there. The problem is that Barry Switzer cannot get the Cowboys up for games they need to win, or games that don't really necessarily mean anything. I mean, they went in to play the 49ers last week, and yeah, it was a big rivalry, but I mean, mathematically, it wasn't that big if they lost, and what happens? They don't show up. Last week, they figure, well, we got a 2-game lead on the 49ers, with 4 games left, everything's going to play it out. We don't need to win. We don't care if the Redskins beat us. And they go out there, and they're lifeless. I can't understand it.
Hey, Dan.
Why?
Hey, Dan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel something breathing down the back of your neck, right around here, maybe?
No, I feel nothing.
Those are the Packers and the Niners, and they're coming.
Oh,
and they're ready. They're ready. You guys are going to lose that home field advantage so fast.
I feel no pressure because I do believe the Cowboys will bounce back this week against Philadelphia. If they don't, then I might as well just pack it in with the rest of the team because it's just, they can't lose home field. They probably won't. When there's the urgency's there, they'll play well. They'll play well. Because now they know just win the 3 games. The 49ers are going to lose. Let's face it. They're sitting there laughing over there in the Bay Area. And I hate that. Because I hate the 49ers, man. It's just not fair. I know America thinks we're the bad guys, but we're really not. The real evil is in San Francisco. And they must be destroyed. Oh, God, listen to me.
Well, Dan, let me tell you something. In order for the Cowboys to win this week, 3 things have to happen. One is Troy Aikman's got to come out, have a big game, hook up with Michael Irvin for at least 100 yards.
True.
Emmitt Smith's got to come out there, and Emmitt Smith is more worried. I'll tell you, he's worried about rushing for 2,000 yards. He's worried about getting 30 touchdowns.
Nah, I would not say
that. That guy has got such a big ego, he could care less if the Cowboys win or lose.
Now, wait a minute.
So Emmitt's got to come out and have a big game.
Emmitt Smith accepts his role as the big man in the Cowboy offense.
He accepts his role as the big mouth on the Cowboy offense.
Big mouth? He's the one that's doing no talking.
Now, let me tell you.
Anyone who does the talking, it's Michael Irvin, the playmaker.
Now, another thing's got to happen. Deion's got to do something for me. I'm as big a Deion fan. The only guy in Dallas I like is Deion. I'm a big Deion fan.
Sanders.
Let me tell you something. He's doing nothing.
Well, he's not doing that.
He high steps more in those Nike.
Tio, hold on a second. He's not doing nothing. Nobody's throwing the ball at Deion Sanders.
True.
You saw him in the Redskin game last week. They threw a couple of passes to receivers, and it was all the Heath Schuler, Terry Allen show. They knew not to throw the ball at Deion Sanders. If you're not going to throw the ball, then how are you supposed to make a play now?
All I'm saying is he's doing more high-stepping in those Deion commercials than he's doing on the field.
That is true, but that's not his fault.
That is his fault.
He's not getting a chance to do anything. Don't get sit here and tell me that.
I'm big on Deion. I don't want to rank on Deion.
I love Deion Sanders. Why doesn't the Oakdale Mall have a Deion jersey in their sports stores? I've been checking twice a week for the last 7 weeks now, and you guys got no Deion jersey.
Because he switches teams every week. That's why.
No, come on, still.
Every year he's on a new team. He's the Falcons, the Niners, the Cowboys. Was the Dolphins next?
Maybe.
What's the point of making a jersey if no one's going to buy it until he stays with the team?
Here's the deal, all right? Get me a Deion jersey. If anybody knows where they can find me a double star road Deion jersey, I'll be very happy. I'll be gladly pay you extra for your services, all right? Because I need a Deion jersey, and Santa's going to bring me the wrong one for Christmas. I can feel it. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? But anyway, getting back to the Cowboys, Barry Switzer's got to start doing his job. He's not doing it. Emmitt Smith's a true warrior. He's not worried about the stats. He knows his team. He needs his team to win. I like him this week in Philadelphia because he always rolls up big numbers in Philadelphia, so I'm not too worried about that. And also this game, there's the big urgency on this game, so I think the Cowboys will come out and play well. But anyway, there's a bunch of other teams in the NFL that we need to talk about. What we can do right now is take a look at the AFC playoff picture, which isn't too confusing. Right now we see Kansas City and Pittsburgh own home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Kansas City has that. Pittsburgh has the other first-round bye. What do you think of the Steelers this year now?
Well, the Steelers are impressing me. They're showing up. They disappeared a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden they're back.
Exactly.
They look good.
Steelers were 3-4 after 7 weeks, and who'd have thought that they would be the first team to actually clinch a playoff berth? They did that by beating Houston and clinching the AFC Central. I mean, Pittsburgh, they've only beaten one team with a winning record, but 9-4 is going to look good at the end of the year to get that first-round bye. And actually, if I had to pick right now who had the best chance to go into Kansas City on January 14th and go to the Super Bowl by beating the Chiefs, I have to say right now it is the Pittsburgh Steelers because they got a good team there. Bam Morris is coming on. Cordell Stewart's got some nasty trick plays. And Neil O'Donnell isn't losing games for him. And, of course, they got that nasty defense we all know about. But let's look at the rest of the AFC playoff picture. If the season ended today, the Buffalo Bills, champions of the AFC East, would be hosting the Miami Dolphins, who back in at 7-6, probably, although I'm not even sure about that. The wildcard teams would be the Raiders at 8-5, and then we see the Colts, Dolphins, and Broncos are all 7-6. I'm not sure how the NFL tiebreaker works in this situation because there's 3 teams in there. So the Colts head-to-head over the Dolphins does not necessarily take place. I think the Colts and Dolphins get in. I'm not sure. But obviously, it's 2 of those 3 teams. We see the Chargers and Seahawks at 6-7. Still got a chance to run the table and back into playoffs. What do you think of the AFC so far?
Well, if you're a Colts fan, I'm sorry. You guys seem to be allergic to winning. They finally go out there. They beat the Dolphins in a big game. Everyone's psyched. All of a sudden, their owner has a stroke, and they lose to Carolina all in a week. I don't know what happened.
Their owner had a stroke? What happened?
Yeah, he had some kind of stroke, and I don't know. He was in the hospital. I haven't heard the latest on it, but he did. He had a stroke.
We don't have the footage of that, but...
And I'd like to dedicate this show to him, actually, because it's been a rough week for him and the entire...
Is this the owner? Who's this?
All of Indianapolis. Yeah, the owner.
Ursay? Is that the guy?
Yeah, Ursay. That's right.
He had a stroke?
He had a stroke, and, then the whole team had a stroke against Carolina. And
hey,
lost.
now wait a minute. Carolina mentioned Carolina. What we're going to do here is take a look at the NFC playoff picture. Well, division champions here. We got Dallas, San Francisco, and Green Bay. That's okay. That's pretty much spread out. We need to know what we need to know is that Dallas, if they win the rest of their games, they automatically get home field advantage. Not too confusing. But now if we look at the wild card teams, this is disgusting what we got going on right here. We got Philadelphia leading the pack at 8-5. Yeah, that's great and all, but now we got 5 teams at 7-6. Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago, Atlanta, and St. Louis. And if that wasn't bad enough, you got 3 teams sitting there at 6-7, Tampa, New Orleans, and yes, the expansion Carolina Panthers. Let me do the math on that. We're looking at 8 teams vying for 2 spots in the NFC wildcard playoffs. That's just ludicrous.
It's crazy over there. But if you look at those teams that are 7-6, even the teams that are 6-7, there are only about 2 teams that are really playing good football right now. The Detroit Lions, who have established a passing game finally. Scott Mitchell broke out.
Detroit Lions are dangerous at home in December under Wayne Fontes, who seems to save his job every year. He looks like he's going to do it again, getting them in the playoffs this year. They got a pretty not-so-bad schedule. I think they got Tampa Bay. They got Houston this week. I think they got the Jacksonville, maybe? I'm not even sure. It's on the schedule here somewhere. But what do you think of the NFC wildcard playoffs?
I think also you got to look at the Falcons. The Falcons, I know they had a tough loss against Miami, a game they really should have won.
Yeah.
And, if you're a Falcon fan, you're not too happy. But, they're still in it. They're still looking pretty good. But what I see coming out of the NFC is probably the typical Niner-Cowboy game for the NFC Championship, which we're all pretty tired of, actually.
Yeah, I can see that would be the 4th year in a row this has happened. But,
the Packers could sneak in. Brett Favre is, right now, playing the best football out of any quarterback in the NFL.
I would wholeheartely agree with that.
That includes Troy Aikman and Boomer Esiason.
Oh, yeah, that's... Did you just say Troy Aikman and Boomer Esiason?
Yes,
in
that's
the same
right.
Sentence?
That is right, because Boomer's playing some good football right now for the Jets. And, he looked good against Seattle. He looked all right. He looked great. Against Buffalo in that second half, he was excellent. And, I don't want to talk about the Ram game. It's kind of depressing me.
Don't worry about the Ram game, because that guy will help you get that #1 pick, which you guys don't have just yet, because you're tied with the Jacksonville Jaguars at 3-10. And oops, you beat the Jaguars back in week 3. So that gives the Jaguars the #1 spot. But don't worry about it. I'm rooting for you guys to get that #1 pick, because you guys need it. You got to secure that future. But anyway, getting back to the NFC playoffs, Brett Favre and the Packers, they're a real scary team. Some people say he might even be MVP candidate. I don't know about that, especially if Emmitt Smith breaks the touchdown rushing record, which if he averages 1 a game for the rest of the year, he will do at 25. But it's another reason the Cowboys really need home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Not only to have the home field, but if they secure home field advantage in Green Bay and San Francisco, we're going to assume they go on to play they win their division. And that would mean Green Bay would have to go play San Francisco before they play Dallas. And right now, I mean, those of you who've been watching my show all semester, you know, I smoked a lot of trash about the Cowboys early on. And I mean it, and I still believe it, but I'm getting a really weird vibe about this season right now.
Let me just say something. If you go into that championship game and the Cowboys are at the top of their game and the Niners are at the top of their game, the Niners win. The Niners are awesome.
Timeout.
I've seen, no.
Hold on
time in.
Whoa.
Time in.
Time in nothing. If Dallas goes into the top of their game, Dallas has the better team than the 49ers. The only problem is Dallas doesn't feel like showing up when they play the 49ers. Why?
They don't feel like showing up.
I can't explain that.
Because of the metric system?
They got housed. They got robbed.
That's right, they did
rolled.
get housed. But you can't tell me the Cowboys were at the top of their game that day. You can't even tell me that.
I didn't say they were.
They had Wade Wilson for 3 quarters. That's disgusting.
Look at the Niners rolling up points left and right on the Cowboys, on the Dolphins, on the Rams. I mean, they're spanking everybody. And I honestly believe if you go into that championship game and you got the Niners and the Cowboys at the top of their game. Now, first of all, I think the winner of the NFC at the end of the regular season with the best record is going to win the NFC because, I mean, it's going to, you know, the losers got to play, the 2 losers, the Packers and the Niners, if they don't win, are going to have to play each other.
Right.
And I think that game's going to take a lot out of those 2 teams.
Unless one of those teams gets upset. So, I mean, the Packers, they're a great team, and I really fear them more than the 49ers in the sense that, Dallas has spanked Green Bay the last 6 times they've played them, twice in the playoffs. And it's just like, how many times you got to keep beating a team? And the way the Packers are playing now, if they go into Dallas, they're in the playoffs, I'm going to be a little bit more nervous than if the 49ers came to town. Because can the 49ers beat the Cowboys twice in Dallas in the same year? Come on now.
I got to tell you, the Niners didn't even play in the second half. They didn't need to. So basically, you know, they've only played a half of real football in Dallas this year, not a full game.
That is true.
They didn't play anybody because Dallas didn't show up. So they were basically just running a scrimmage against themselves out there.
All right, okay, yeah, scrimmage and all. I know the Niners, they've beaten the Cowboys the last 3 times and all. But the first 2 losses, the Cowboys did play well. In the first game last year in November at Candlestick Park, Aikman threw a couple of bad interceptions, but they hung tight the whole way, and the Niners edged them out in the end. I was all right with that. January was a killer because the game was over before I knew it, but actually it wasn't because the Cowboys fought like champions and actually outscored the Niners by 11 after that 21-0 disaster. But what happened on November 12th was just disgusting. And it just, for me, a Cowboy fan, I can't get any kind of satisfaction until mid-January. If we sweep the last 3 teams, yeah, so what? Because the prospects of the 49ers still loom.